All right, so apparently I recorded all this last night and the mic was off. So let's do this again. All right, so we're talking about daily routines when it comes to DC Dark Legion. And yeah, we're gonna break it down because there's a lot of stuff. If you're not doing it, you need to be doing it, because why not? All right, so when it comes to the game, there's tons and tons of free resources. And I know sometimes this can get, boring, tedious, whatever, when it comes to picking these up, but make sure you're doing it. All right, so let's start with some of the first things you need to be doing if you're a new player or mid game or anything like that. Now, I'm late game in here. I've already fully upgraded my entire base. So one of the things you need to be doing if you're not doing it is always upgrading a room. Always be upgrading a room. Doesn't matter which one it is, at least something needs to be moving. If you're early game or anything like that, your war room is the most important room here. So at all times, this needs to be upgrading. If it's not upgrading, you need to be figuring out what room needs to upgrade in order to get that one moving. So again, most of the time it's going to be this training nexus needs to be going up, but make sure that you're doing that so that you can upgrade your war room, because you want to get to 35 pretty much as quickly as possible so that you can have everything unlocked, including armor, all the good stuff. So always be upgrading a room. Each room gives you some type of benefit, so you may want to just look into that. Maybe I'll do a video in the future talking about each room and why they're important and what characters you should have in them, all that. You know what? Let's do that. There'll be another video next week as we break that down. All right, so if we go outside the base, the next thing you need to be looking at is your shelter. You need to make sure that you're upgrading all these little buildings out here. I know, again, if you're early game, mid game, things like that, you probably have tons and tons of this cash, but trust me, late game, you are not going to have any cash. As you can see right here, we're looking at 11 million to do some upgrades, and that's not even for one level. I've got to do this like 4 times. So it's close to 50 million just to get one more level here. So again, you'll want to be picking up all those resources or you will hit big bottlenecks later in game. Next up, we've got our map. So make sure you're going through your map. We've got new stuff on the map now, especially like these guys. You definitely want to be hitting these up, making sure that you're joining them, putting in some teams here, because this is going to give you some really good stuff like AC/DC shards, ship parts, different things like that. So make sure if you ever see those drill sites, you're jumping on board with them. Also, helping out your different team members here, doing your quest. Again, your team members are going to help you. Your league members are going to help you here. So definitely make sure that you're picking up your rewards here. You're putting stuff out here. You're completing them because it is free resources, and it's a good bit of resources throughout the day. One fun thing I like to do, again, I've got pretty strong teams here. We definitely like to attack any trains. I don't see any trains on the map right now, but definitely if you see trains and they look like they're within range of taking them down, take down the trains, get you some free stuff. And again, these are gonna be things like anvils, character selectors, things like that. So definitely always be on the lookout for trains. You get 3 attacks a day, so make sure you're using those. Next up is your daily quest and things like that in here. So you've got a bunch of different things you need to be doing. Make sure Anti-Crime Network, you're pushing those as far as you can. Eventually you'll hit some roadblocks, whatever. Just leave them there. A couple weeks later, go try it again. There's always adjustments happening in the game. You're always upgrading your characters, things like that. So you can always push it further, but make sure you're doing that. And whenever you get your resources here, you're just rating them, get you some free resources, whatever one you're needing for that particular moment, whether it's experience or the simulators, or for me, it's just alloy, trying to get as good of equipment as I can. Next up on the list, we're going to go through these pretty quickly, is Meta Brawl. Make sure you're doing your Meta Brawl. You may not be in some of the highest levels and things like that, and that's totally fine. Just do what you can here. Get as high as you possibly can here, because you want to get those resources, because again, this is where you're going to get things like the mythic Wonder Woman shards, maybe Raven if you're going after Justice League Dark, Bane if you're going after some of the Arkham stuff. So those are, free resources daily that you can do with your 5 different attempts, plus your ranking is going to give you some more. Next up, training simulator. Again, you do want to push this as far as you can, just so that you can get experience points always going in there. So I check this every time I log in, just to grab that experience, put it away, because again, this will also be a bottleneck when you start leveling up your characters at some point. On a daily basis, I've already picked it up now, but you also get a couple gems in here, so make sure you're picking them up. because again, it's free. Get all your free stuff. That's the one big thing in this game. Make sure you're getting your free stuff. Next up is combat cycle. Again, you want to run the combat cycle every day, at least once. Get yourself on the leaderboard somewhere so that when you log in, you can pick up those rewards. Again, I get ACDC shards, and this is one of the best places to get your ACDC shards daily. So make sure you're doing that so you can get your rewards and kind of moving on through there. Eventually, you'll get into phase 2, and then you can get mirror shards every day as you run them. So it is an important mode to go ahead and do and try to get further and further each time just to get higher and higher on that leaderboard. Continuing down, we've got Defeat the Dark Legion. Again, you've got 5 attempts in here. Make sure you're just sending some ships out. This is just a pro tip. If you don't know, you can send multiples out. You can't send multiples of the same one, but you can always hit this back arrow and do a second one. I tend to always do those. I do the one I'm currently on and the one before. Again, you need to do 2 a day in order to get your daily quest done. Next up on the list is Umble Rift. This is one of those things where it's going to be happening like every 2 days. So make sure at a minimum you're doing your standby squads, hit your button. Make sure you have those set up and you have them turned on. Even if you think you're going to be there, go ahead and click this button. Once you log in, it'll undo them. You can throw in whatever teams you want. But worst case, something happens. You can't make it, whatever. You've at least got some squads set up. Lastly is the Darkest Timeline. Again, this is one of those modes. I've already completely cleared it, done all the different things on it. So the only time I'm really using it is when new characters are coming out. But if you're new to the game, if you haven't actually finished this whole track, definitely do it each weekly. It's not necessarily a daily thing. You only get 5 tries for the week, but make sure you are using those. Maybe it's a really fun mode. So maybe you span them out or something like that throughout the week, but make sure you're doing that. That way you can get all these rewards because there's some pretty good ones within here. So make sure you're doing them. All right, so let's talk about league. Make sure you're doing your league stuff. You're hitting the little help button. You're going into your league. You're picking up, if you've got territories, maybe get some of those rewards. Again, giving you some extra currency plus some energy to use over in the anti-crime. But also make sure you're doing your technology every day. So whenever you have the ability to donate, you're doing that throughout the day. So every time I check in, I just double check, throw some stuff at it. Our league, personally, all we have left is a few of the resources, and then we'll be completely maxed out for the league. And again, this is pretty huge. These are bonuses. These are free stats, free stuff, whether it's helping you get better resources a lot quicker or helping your characters like in the combat. These are some pretty big bonuses here. So make sure you're doing this to help your league, but also help you because these are going to increase all your stats for your different guardians and things like that. The other thing when it comes to leagues is your chests. So again, make sure, and I've said this in other videos, the league is one of the most important things when it comes to this game. Make sure you're in probably one of the most active or best leagues that you can get into. I get it, the top 2 leagues, something like that, it may be hard to get in there because they have power level requirements or things like that, but it is one of those that you want to be, if you can be, in one of the top 3 leagues of your server because you're going to be getting tons of these chests. Again, every morning when I wake up, I have like 800 chests in here. It's free resources. You've got rare chests, it's the league supplies. Just make sure you're checking those because there are timers on these. So if you don't pick them up in time, they go away. So this is something you want to be doing on a daily and even throughout the day, just checking in to grab them. All right, so next up is events, daily events. Understand what's going on in your events. We just finished up a day of Supreme Commander, so you want to make sure that you're going in there, you're doing all the different quests in there. Again, you don't have to max it out. If you haven't seen on the podcast, each episode we're going through one of the days, talking through what we do on those particular days, what we prioritize, things like that. But these are important. Make sure you do them because you're getting free resources just for doing your daily task anyway. It does mean you have to be a little slower in some areas. You're only doing certain things on certain days, but trust me, in the long run, understanding what you need to do on each day is going to progress you a lot faster and be better for you. All right, so beyond that, with the different modes, make sure Rush, Checkmate Crisis, all those different ones you're doing whenever you can do. Again, as you participate, you're going to get rewards, and those rewards are going to propel you in the game. So just make sure that you are checking in, doing all the different events that are going on, even the ones that are in the game. Like we just had the Dr. Fate spinning event, the Wheel of Fate event. So again, if you're not spending things like that, I get some of these events can be kind of boring, but at least do the minimum that you can do, use those free spins, things like that, so you can progress. And then, of course, get your free rewards, your 7-day reward calendar that's constantly coming through here. Make sure you're picking those up, even if it's just the free path. It's a couple, right? So 10 shards of a free character, and that is going to correspond with whatever character is in your bleed. So right now I've got Nightwing, so I'm getting Batgirl, and Nightwing should be out of here by the next time this rolls around. So hopefully it's going to be Crypto as we get Supergirl and Superboy coming in here, and there's just free shards, so you want to make sure you're picking those up. All right, so there's a couple more places just to finalize the stuff, and this is going to deal with the stores in the game. So again, the actual store, make sure you're picking up the daily rewards. There are 3 different places now to pick up daily rewards, so pick those up. If you're a spender, things like that, your daily deals, you know, grab them, whatever character you need. If you're not a spender, totally fine. You're still going to get some of these free rewards that are up here in the corners, so make sure you're grabbing those. Free stuff is free stuff. Other place you're looking at is things like the legacy. Make sure if you've completed any of your tasks, things like that, you're getting them done. The store itself. So again, everybody has their own tactics of what they're doing in here. I can tell you for me, I'm picking up things with cash. So all of the things like the AC/DC shards, I grab. The simulators, I grab. Those are one of the ones that's going to keep you from progressing eventually later in there. I also grab, you don't have to grab these, but again, cash, they're pretty cheap in the long run. I do grab the 5x green cubes that are in here for cash. I don't spend any of my source gems on any of the ones I just mentioned, but then I do grab the 2 different anvil packs in here. If you're a no spender, a free to play, things like that, just grab the 60 one that's for the 1 anvil. If you ever see a pack that says 200%, it's worth grabbing. But again, being where I'm at, I'm also picking up the other one, just making sure I'm progressing those anvils because I want to make sure I can do as much as I can on the banners. League 1, the only 2 things I look at here in the league is the anvils and then if a ship part ends up in the top. Previously, before I was getting anvils and things like that, I was just buying these ship parts down at the bottom. I think it's fine. Again, depending on where you're at and what you're doing with the game, it's fine to spend on those. But right now, I'm just saving up my currency. I'm just looking for anvils or the ship parts at the top half. That's how I treat the league store. Meta Brawl, this one, again, like I mentioned earlier about doing your Meta Brawl, the only thing I buy in here is the cheap Wonder Woman mythic shards. I've upgraded her. I did the event. So I'm just focused on getting her as high as I can. You can pretty much get the 10 shards every week if you can stay towards the top end of Grandmaster. But, you know, you just depends on like what character you're going after. Originally, before Wonder Woman was in here, I was going after the Raven shards. But I think at this point, you just want to hit the 400% shards, kind of ignore the other ones. The other 3 tabs we're not going to talk about, doesn't really matter. House of Secrets in general, I'm just picking up the different ones that I need for the different characters, banner characters I'm using. Again, Worldline, I'm converting to anvils. I think a lot of people convert them to eyes, but at this point, we get eyes in a lot of different places. So I'm just doing anvils so that I can get max banner pulls that I can. Now, I know I said I wasn't going to talk about it, but I did. So, all right. And the last 2 things I do is I hit this friends list. Make sure that you are sending and claiming. You're going to get 10 free drones a day. So make sure you grab those and you're sending out drones to the other people on your friends list. And lastly, check your mail. There's always going to be some stuff in here through the night, things like that, whether it's ranking rewards. Maybe you got some free gems off of some type of patch notes. As well as, you know, things coming across in your league, whether it's the Bat Train. Speaking of Bat Train, make sure if you haven't already done it, you're in the Bat Train every single day before it takes off. Again, I know not every league is going to have a Bat Train every day, but that goes back to the thing I said earlier in the video. Make sure you're in one of the top leagues on your server and any way possible of getting in those. Make sure you get in those because you get a train a day. I know sometimes you get kicked to the caboose. And hopefully they'll figure something out about that and they can help us, you know, not have that feel bad, but make sure that you're doing it because even worst case there, you're getting some source gems. All right. And wrapping all of this up, if you've done all of those things throughout the day, then you are doing your daily missions that you need to be doing. One of the big things about the daily missions that they just added is mementos. So you want to make sure that you're doing these so you can get those memento boxes, fill out the mementos, because that's going to give you some free resources as well. So these are pretty easy to attain to do your full daily, get the full 100. And keep in mind, your 100 gives you the blue box, which has a percentage of giving you 4-star mementos, compared to any of the 20 to 80 is the green box, which does not have the 4-star mementos. So you want to make sure you're getting all the way up to the 100. That way you can come in here, get your mementos, finish out your books. And when you finish out your books, you get some free stuff up here, right? And sometimes there's anvils in there. This was ship parts for this one. Make sure you're doing that. It's going to progress your whole day and your whole experience in this game. It's a lot. I know it's a lot of dailies. You can do these throughout the day. Just keep in mind, certain things reset throughout the day. There's different timings on different things. So it isn't just a log in the morning, log in the next day. There are things you want to log in throughout the day, like the store resets every 8 hours. You've got Umbra Rift that's, occasionally here and there. You've got things like Krypton Rush that are scheduled for certain times. So just make sure, if you're going to take advantage of all the free stuff in this game, you're just keeping up with some type of schedule. I love to do reminders on my phones when the Umbra Rift's going to start or when the Great Rush is going to start. I can't make them all. Got a life as well. Got a 9 to 5, all the good stuff. But I at least try to get as much of that in as I can so I can get some free stuff in the background. If I missed anything, because I'm sure there's so much stuff in this game, leave a comment down below. What do you do on your daily routine that's maybe a little bit different? Or what have you found to be the most important thing on a daily run with the game? Let me know down below in the comments. If you haven't already done it, but you've made it all the way to the end of this video, make sure you hit the like, hit the subscribe, all of that. It helps the channel, helps push this content out to more. We appreciate all you guys. Until next time, I'll take it easy.